Good evening, everyone, and welcome back once again to Vicious Rants. And of course, I am your host, the often imitated, never duplicated backyard superstar and your YouTube messiah, Tim Vicious. And yes, like I said, this is Vicious Rants. Contrary to some popular rumors, I am not gonna be some dude doing a little banter in some offshoot manner, or have curly pink hair in a room and go and talk about my problems. No. This Vicious Rants give rants, reviews, opinions on the product. You don't like it, you can leave, unless of course you're James Storm holding Manic and Sonata in Willow's Rape Shack. But enough about on how I spend the weekend. Let's talk about the show. On with the show, talking about Monday Night Raw. Gonna be straight up, first off, right off bat. This Raw, it was a hell of a lot better than what was given to us within the past 2 weeks. And it was could have been better, but you know, it was better than what we've been given. That's the thing. Anyways, started out the show with a match. Yes, that's right, a match, which was real nice to see. And wound up getting Jericho versus Wyatt in a cage match. It was good to see right off bat. And the match itself, little drawn out, longer than I thought I personally would have liked, but not that bad. You know, it was pretty good. You know, I mean, I personally liked it. It was a good way to end their feud on that part. And hands down, probably one of the cooler spots on that was right at the end, Jericho climbing up. Just as he's on the top, next thing you know, sees Rowan and Harper on the other side. He gets back over and he's standing on top of the cage. And before he goes and does the dive off the cage, he just looks, he's like, like, literally just like, fuck it, why not? And that's what really made that spot for me. I absolutely love that. Next thing you know, he came down, and they showed the replay from a few different angles, and I did see Jericho did come down and land on his knee like that. So whether they're storyboarding that he had a knee injury or he really did tweak it, I don't know, but on how the match came to an end, Jericho and Bray were both at the door. Jericho was clawing his way out. He was part way out. Bray was hammering him with everything he had until eventually Jericho rolled and Bray rolled out of the cage. So Bray won that feud, and that was phenomenal, especially given the fact of on how they wound up doing that, because yeah, Jericho won the first one, Bray won the second, and then Bray won the last. He came out on top and strong in the feud, which was really what was needed for him. Because, excuse me, now Bray can get built up to a higher level. Yeah, but after the match, Rowan and Harper, they tossed him back in. Bray wound up going to town on him, gave him a Sister Abigail, and next thing you know, yeah. Next matchup, it was NXT Divas match. Oh, joy of joys. It was Natalya versus Rosa, which apparently now means that she's a babyface, going up against Paige and AJ. Yeah. And again, I still stand by the argument. Paige, you can pull off the cute look. You can pull off the crazy look. But you cannot pull off the cute, crazy look. Honey, I have dated enough crazy women to fill an insane asylum. I know for a fact, while you may pull off the cute, you can pull off crazy. You can pull off cute, but you cannot do both. AJ, she can do both. quite possibly because either because she really can or because she's from Jersey. Which case, Danny, like we said before, pretty sure that the ones over in Union City, they're the ones known mostly for yeah, that and I'm pretty sure that the girls from Camden are also, but that's a story meant for another day. Anyways, the match itself, it was, I really cared less about this. It didn't really, it was pretty okay, but it didn't feel good to me. You know, it felt like they were just doing the match to help build up the Total Divas show, which, it's, I don't like that idea, you know? Should have a wrestling match for the build up for storytelling, you know? Not to promote this. Not to promote this brand new product here. You know? But that's just me. Paige, she was in the ring for a majority of the match. Natalya and Rosa, they were working pretty good on her. Next thing you know, AJ grabbed Paige, forced herself to get a tag in, went over to Rosa, slapped on the Black Widow, got the tap out, which case, I thought it was rather ironic. Last week, Rosa Mendez wound up showing her ass. This week, she submitted by smacking AJ's ass. But, yeah. On with the show. Next matchup, it was Rollins versus Sheamus, which, gotta say, I was relatively impressed with, you know. And Rollins, of course, he came out with his Money in the Bank, Money in the Bank briefcase, whereas though I still have my Tim Vicious Money in the Bank briefcase. Okay, so it's a gym bag, but I'm working on a tight budget. People, work with me here. Sorry. Been a little tense today. Anyways, this match, it was pretty decent. I liked it. You know, you have the big, huge guy going up against the little guy. It was a nice match. You know, Cesaro wound up coming out partway through, and I got no problem if you're going to have somebody come out to do outside interference. But in all honesty, my big thing is, why are you going to play their music to announce that they're coming down? Why not just have it be like a surprise? I mean, just have Cesaro walk down casually like it's nothing, and then have Cole, Lawler, and JBL just get on the commentary and be like, whoa, wait, who's that? Oh my god, Cesaro's coming down. Cesaro's coming down. What's this all about? You know, to help build up tension on it. You know, build tension, suspense, make me be like, oh wow, hey, what's he doing? I know that could work. Lord knows that could work because they did that all the time, going from '97 until like 2002. But yeah. Match wound up coming to an end when Cesaro wound up picking up the U.S. title like it was nothing, like, that's a nice belt. Looking at his reflection, and next thing you know, Sheamus like, that's mine! And they wound up doing this good little tug of war with it. Sheamus let go, Cesaro fell on his ass, and as Sheamus is in the corner, Rollins drop kicks and then goes and does a curb stomp. And not making a knock on Seth on this, but that was a pretty sloppy curb stomp, and I'm blaming Sheamus on that part. That was a bad curb stomp because of Sheamus. You know, didn't move down quick enough, and it was, if you had a quick enough trained eye, you would notice it, and I felt bad on that part. But Rollins wound up getting the win. After that, Cesaro came in, unbuttoned his jacket, took his button-down shirt off, picked Sheamus up, wham, hit him with the neutralizer, and then held up the belt. You're champion! Which case, women In which case, Cesaro came out in a suit to make women feel happy and giddy. And then Cesaro picked up the belt to make the fanboys feel all happy and giddy. Or at least that's on how I may have perceived it. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, next up, match of the night right here. And when I say this sentence, I want you to listen to each and every word that I say on this and hold on to it. It was an NXT match on Raw. Yes, NXT on Raw. That's all I got to say, really. Adrian Neville and Sami Zayn going up against Tyson Kidd and Tyler Breeze. Oh my God. Oh, good Lord, that was a hell of a match. Zayn was in there for most of the part for his team, and of course, right after they did the announcement saying who is who, we got Ole, 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 Ole chants for Zayn. Which case, I still stand by my argument. I refuse to chant Ole until El Generico saves every orphan in Mexico. Although I do have reason to believe that Sami Zayn was raised in one of the orphanages that El Generico is now working at. You know, because... Just saying though. I have that information. I discovered that information. Nothing more, nothing less. But yeah. It was a great, beautiful match. I absolutely loved every second of it, and the fact that they were all on Raw. Oh my God! This got me so freaking hyped for TakeOver. You know, and the fact that on TakeOver, they announced Kenta is going to make his debut, so, folks, breathe now. Because now you're getting Kenta that night. The only way that could wind up getting better is if you wind up getting Devitt and Steen all appear at on the same night on that show. But on with that match. Zayn was in for most of his part. Breeze and Kidd, they were doing quick tags with each other. You know, they were going at it really good and hard. Next thing you know, Zayn wound up getting the tag in. Neville was working him for a bit, and next thing you know, Zayn wound up doing a suicide dive over the ropes, and Neville was in there, got up to the top, hit the red arrow on I think it was Kidd. I could be wrong though, but got the 1, 2, 3, and next thing you know, boom, and yeah. In which case, to any and all viewers in the UK, I fully bow to you guys because of the fact you got William Regal as your GM and Adrian Neville as your NXT champion. What more could you guys really ask for? Me personally, the only thing I would really ask for is if we could have William Regal, Steve Corino, and Joey Styles work commentary, but that's fantasy. That's another fantasy booking for another time. Next up, going to talk about a big promo bit. It was on there. Like I said, I don't talk about promos unless it was needed. Unless I feel it's needed. This one, I feel it's needed for you because I do. Now, warning is now, it's on this god-awful Bella storyline that they're pushing out for us, but, you know, Steph came out, which case, every time I see Steph, I always say the same thing. Hello, Steph. MILF in charge. And she came out, introduced Jerry Springer, and he wound up making the Bella Twins segment into a Jerry Springer episode, which, oh my God. Oh my God. It was so horrible. It was so horrible I couldn't help but laugh through it all. It was like watching an episode of Jerry Springer from like '97 all over again. I was just waiting for when they brought out their little brother Juju to go and say that that one of the girls is the mother of his kid to really make it an episode of Jerry Springer. They were trying to push this to make them to have Nikki and Swiss, or I think her name is Provolone or Gouda. I know it's a cheese, but we'll just go right now and say mozzarella. Saying that mozzarella, it was being a mega bitch to Nikki, and Nikki doesn't deserve all this, and in which case I thought it was kind of funny at the fact that their mom and dad did better vignettes with their on their vignettes. They did better acting than them. That was hilarious. And then you had their baby brother Juju come out and say, yeah, we all know who's to blame for this. Nikki. And then next thing you know, you had both girls and started brawling with each other, and Jerry got tossed in the middle, and then Steph got tossed in there. And when Jerry fell down, everyone was like, oh my god, Jerry's hurt. And then he got rolled out on the stretcher, which at first sources did say he was suffering from anal bleeding, but turns out that was false information. He's perfectly fine. Kudos to you, Jerry. Next matchup, it was the Dust Brothers versus Primo and Epico. I mean, Los Matadors. And I just want to take a second to talk about Cody with the Stardust gimmick, because hands down, Cody, he definitely shows on who his daddy is with Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. Showing that it's not the gimmick that you have, that no matter what gimmick you have, you make it work. Because, good example, the dashing Cody Rhodes, the kind of thing. And then when he had to wear that protective face mask. And then when he had the cheesy porno mustache. And now, Stardust. Yeah, Cody is making it all work. Hell, if they wound up throwing him in polka dots next week like they had his old man do, I guarantee he would work that with no problem whatsoever. You know? But as far as what the match goes, it was what you would expect. You know, it was a squash match to make the Dust Brothers look strong, and for their tag match at Night of Champions against the Usos for the titles, which case I am so hoping that they win. You know, just imagine, they win, next thing you know, you could have, next thing you know, they win the titles, lights go out, you hear all that boom, 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 music building up, and then boom, right at the center stage, right at the entranceway, and up, right out of nowhere, comes the Cosmic Key. Okay, maybe I'm confusing fantasy with reality again, but work with me, people! Anyways, the Dust Brothers wound up winning the match. After the match, Usos came out, whacked them with the one Uso who's got a tweaked knees crutch, and then the Usos were standing out there on the ramp like, yeah, kind of shit. Next up, it was Adam Rose versus Titus O'Neil, which case, yeah, it was a card filler. That's all that was, really. Nothing big, nothing fancy, and the best part on that was Bunny super kicking Heath Slater, you know, in which case, I'm not alone on this, I swear. Bunny wound up learning on how to throw out a super kick like that from the Young Bucks. And that's my story, I'm sticking to it, I don't care what anyone says. I know Bunny says it was from the Young Bugs. I still stand by the argument the Young Bucks, because I think Bunny is really a double agent for the Bullet Club. But Rose wound up getting the win, what a shocker. You know, and then Bunny wound up going and doing a body splash on Slater also after the match. But yeah. Next up, it was the main event, Randy versus Roman. Which case, I felt kind of sorry for Randy because he was carrying a majority of the match, just because Roman's moveset isn't fully developed yet. And I'm not saying this as a knock on Roman. Excuse me. Not saying this as a knock on Roman, because I like the guy. I see a lot of potential in him, and I see him going really far in the company and in the business. You know? It's just, I feel he got brought up onto the main roster a little too soon, you know? And he didn't get time to really get a chance to polish, like on how a lot of guys do in the indies and then get brought into WWE. You know? Roman never got that chance. You know? And now he's getting thrusted into that main event spot. But Roman wound up getting the win by DQ. Yeah, just as Roman was about to go, and Roman wound up getting in the Superman punch. Randy called out for backup, which case, cue the meme of Kane saying, "My, what a lovely match you have. It would be a shame if someone were to interfere in it." And then, of course, Kane did. Kane and Rollins both did. And which case, I almost shit myself at the fact Rollins almost had a near miss when the cage was coming down. One of the spikes just barely missed his back. He pulled himself out right at the last second. You know, next thing you know, Randy had a chair, went to town on him. Next thing you know, Rollins, curb stomp right onto the chair. Which case, and you know, looking really good and could build up to a match at either this coming pay-per-view at Night of Champions or at Hell in a Cell, because Randy wound up beating up Jericho earlier in that night. I didn't bring that up. Like I said, I didn't think it was needed, but now that I'm talking about this match, I do feel it is. Wound up beating up Jericho, so I can see a six-man going on with that at either Night of Champions. Randy, Rollins, and Kane going up against Roman, Ambrose, and Jericho. I could see it going that way at either this one or next month at Hell in a Cell, in an actual Hell in a Cell match. In which case, if we can get Ambrose in a Hell in a Cell match, you know, even though we're working with PG, even though we're working in the PG boundaries, you know, we can wind up getting Johnny Moxley in action. No doubt on that, you know. And then after that, Ambrose will just go. Crack open a drink, walk into the Divas locker room and be like, "So, whose titties am I mastering now?" Okay, again, confusing fantasy with reality. Work with me here. Like I said, very stressful day. Okay, anyways, that's it for this week's show. So, like all normal, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch all the other episodes, look for me on Twitter at TimVicious. Make sure y'all look for my backup account, Tim_Vicious. I get put in Twitter jail every now and again. Also, make sure y'all follow all these cool-ass cats right here on Twitter. Vicky Earls, make sure y'all look for Vicky's YouTube page. I am Danny Sunday, Mucky Morris, Axel Mulligan. Make sure y'all check out Axel's show, Axel's Analysis. It's basically like this, but it's on NXT. And, man, Axel, I can't wait to hear what you got to say on NXT TakeOver. Unfortunately, I'm going to be at work that night. So, brother, I'm looking to you for help on that one. The Sunday segue. Kenny, can't wait to be back on again, man. I gotta beat the clock match coming up with Shugs, and Shugs, nothing personal, but this match is just business. Sinfully Sabrina, Cranky Grandpa, Legion Lady Aaron, Alva Ben, Just a Stupid Mark. Oh, yeah, that piece of shit, the Masked Mark. Also, make sure y'all check out Ollie Benz and the second greatest douche nozzle to ever clog Masked Mark's show, TNA Turnaround, as well as my client, who will be the new Raw General Manager, and Nick Meltzer McGee. You threaten me and my client with federal injunction papers. I hate to break it to you, man, but you know what? I ain't scared, and you don't see me running. So you want to bring them? Bring it. Look for my client, Bronx Bitch, forever. Also, by all means, feel free to look for that guy Nick Meltzer McGee at PW Smart Talk as well, so that way you could see on what it is that we're talking about, because he wants to keep on saying he's going to get his little he's going to go and get his little lawyer, David Otunga, that Carlton looking fella, to go and file those papers. And that's it for this week's show. So like I always tell y'all, you love me, great, you hate me, fuck yous.